missed you, man! All right, MJ, heads up!
Got it! Close it!
The next 2 years are going to be huge for movies, so let's dive right in and check out the most exciting films coming in 2026 and 2027. Mutiny, January 9th, 2026. Mutiny is an action-packed thriller directed by Jean-François Richet and written by Lindsay Michel and J.P. Davis. It's being produced by Punch Palace Productions and Mad River Pictures, with Sky Original Film handling the UK release and Lionsgate taking care of it in the US. The movie centers on Cole Reed, a former Special Forces guy, an ex-NYPD cop who now works in private security. Things take a wild turn when he's framed for killing his billionaire friend Tibu in Thailand. While trying to prove his innocence, he stumbles into a major international conspiracy. Jason Statham leads the cast as Cole Reed, joined by Annabelle Wallis, Jason Wong, Roland Muller, Armas Federavicius, and Adrian Lester. Filming kicked off in the UK in September 2024, with scenes shot at One Canada Square in Canary Wharf during lockdown. They also filmed some parts in Malta and wrapped things up by November 25th. Soulmate, January 2nd, 2026. The Megan universe is expanding with a new twist, an erotic thriller called Soulmate. Developed by Atomic Monster and Blumhouse, the story follows a guy who gets an AI android to help him deal with his wife's death. But things don't go as planned. His effort to create the perfect sentient partner takes a dark turn, turning a sweet love bot into a dangerously obsessed soulmate. Kate Dolan, known for You Are Not My Mother, took over script duties from Raphael Jordan and added her own spin. The story was dreamed up by James Wan, Ingrid Bisu, and Jordan. Dolan said the movie dives into loneliness and relationships, showing that even with all our tech, some parts of being human never change. James Wan and Jason Blum are producing, with Michael Clear and Judson Scott on board as executive producers. Wan called Soulmate a bold and seductive addition to the Megan franchise. Send Help, January 30th, 2026. Sam Raimi, the mastermind behind the Evil Dead series, is diving back into horror with a new project called Send Help for 20th Century Studios. He's not just directing it, he's producing it too through his Raimi Productions label alongside Zanab Azizi. Send Help is being described as a tense, two-character horror thriller set on a remote island. Think a mix between Misery and Castaway. The script comes from Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, the duo known for Baywatch and horror flicks like Freddy vs. Jason and Friday the 13th. Raimi, a legend in both horror and superhero genres, most recently directed Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which raked in over $955 million globally. He's also the guy behind the original Spider-Man trilogy, Drag Me to Hell, and Oz the Great and Powerful. On the producing side, he's got a few horror titles lined up too, including Don't Move, snagged by Netflix, and Locked, starring Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins. Mike Flanagan's Exorcist, March 13th, 2026. Mike Flanagan is bringing a whole new vibe to The Exorcist with a fresh take backed by Blumhouse and Morgan Creek. After the lukewarm reception of The Exorcist Believer, Flanagan, best known for Dr. Sleep, is stepping in as writer, director, and producer to steer the franchise in a new direction. Instead of continuing the story from the 2023 sequel, Flanagan's version will be a completely original tale set within the Exorcist universe. He's producing it through his new company, Red Room Pictures, alongside longtime collaborator Trevor Macy, with John Scherer also on board. This marks Flanagan's fourth project with Blumhouse, following Oculus, Hush, and Ouija Origin of Evil. He's genuinely pumped about the opportunity, saying The Exorcist was a big reason he got into filmmaking, and that he's excited to craft something new and terrifying for the franchise. Jason Blum is just as hyped, calling Flanagan's fresh take a must for horror fans, while David Robinson of Morgan Creek praised the new vision and promised something that will breathe fresh life into the classic horror saga. The Mummy, April 17th, 2026. The Mummy is getting a serious horror makeover in 2026, with Lee Cronin in the director's chair. This fresh take on the legendary franchise is being produced by Blumhouse, Atomic Monster, and Cronin's own company, Doppelgangers. The cast includes Jack Rayner, Laia Costa, Veronica Falcone, May Calamawy, and May El-Getty. In a first for the series, New Line Cinema will handle distribution instead of Universal. Filming started in March 2025 with scenes shot across Ireland and Spain. This version is totally separate from the Brendan Fraser-led 90s films and the 2017 reboot. With Cronen's horror chops, expect a darker, creepier spin on the classic Mummy story, more supernatural chills, less action-adventure. The Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22, 2026. Jon Favreau is bringing Star Wars back to theaters with The Mandalorian and Grogu, the first big-screen Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker hit in 2019. This new chapter picks up after The Mandalorian Season 3, where Din Djarin and Grogu team up with Carson Teva and the New Republic to track down the last of the Imperial loyalists following Moff Gideon's defeat. Favreau is directing and co-writing the film with longtime Star Wars creative Dave Filoni, who's also executive producing. Filoni, now Lucasfilm's chief creative officer, has a long resume with the galaxy far, far away, from the Clone Wars and Rebels to The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and more. His history with Favreau dates back to the Clone Wars, where Favreau voiced Pre Vizsla, the darksaber-wielding leader of Death Watch. Together, Favreau and Filoni have been the driving force behind the Mandoverse, that web of post-Return of the Jedi stories tying together The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and now this film. They've built a tightly connected world that fans have loved, and The Mandalorian and Grogu looks like it'll take that to the next level. Filoni is also working on his own Star Wars movie set in the same timeline, with Favreau expected to be involved in that too. Their creative partnership is showing no signs of slowing down. Masters of the Universe, June 5, 2026. He-Man is finally heading back to the big screen, and Masters of the Universe has found its new champion. Nicholas Galitzine, known for Mary and George and Red, White, and Royal Blue, is stepping into the role of the iconic sword-wielding hero. Amazon MGM Studios is behind the project, with Bumblebee director Travis Knight on board and a script by Paranorman writer Chris Butler. The film is set to hit theaters on June 5, 2026. After nearly 2 decades of development hell and a few failed reboots, including a shelved Netflix version, the franchise is finally getting a proper revival. Julie Rappaport of Amazon MGM is calling this film an epic reintroduction aimed at both longtime fans and newcomers. While the original 1987 movie with Dolph Lundgren didn't exactly become a classic, this new version promises a fresh and exciting take. Galitzine, who's made a name for himself playing charming royals in romantic hits like Cinderella and The Idea of You, now takes on his most heroic role yet as He-Man, ready to bring the power of Grayskull to life. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, June 26, 2026. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is shaping up to be a bold, standout chapter in the new DC universe, and it's arriving with a punch in 2026. Directed under James Gunn's rebooted DCU banner, this film gives the spotlight to a heroine who's long overdue for a fresh take on the big screen. With Millie Alcock leading as a hardened, more intense Supergirl, this isn't the bubbly version most fans might remember. This Kara Zor-El has seen serious loss and arrives on Earth with battle scars and attitude. The story draws directly from Tom King's comic miniseries of the same name, which flipped the traditional superhero origin on its head. Supergirl here isn't trying to fit in, she's trying to survive and make sense of the universe's cruelty. It's raw, emotional, and perfect for a character trying to carve her own legacy beside Superman's towering shadow. Supporting Alcock is a cast that's just as compelling. Matthias Schoenaerts as Krem of the Yellow Hills, Eve Ridley as young Ruthie Mary Knoll, and David Krumholtz and Emily Beecham as her Kryptonian parents, Zor-El and Allura. Add to that Jason Momoa's surprise cameo as Lobo and the appearance of Krypto the Superdog, and you've got a film that mixes heart, grit, and cosmic chaos. It's a big swing, and that's what makes it exciting. DC is using Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to prove its universe isn't just about familiar names, it's about redefining what a superhero movie can be. Spider-Man 4, July 31st, 2026. Spider-Man 4 is shaping up to be a huge deal for fans of Tom Holland's Spidey in the MCU. After the massive success of No Way Home, which became the third highest-grossing MCU film, everyone's eager to see what's next. Despite some rumors that No Way Home might have been Holland's last time as Peter Parker, the ending left plenty of space for new stories. Exciting casting news: Sadie Sink, known from Stranger Things, has joined the film in a mystery role. Fans are buzzing over who she might play. Some even speculate she could be Jean Grey, hinting at a bigger multiverse story, though that's unconfirmed. Another possibility is a major Spider-Man character, but Mary Jane seems unlikely given Zendaya's role. Sony's Amy Pascal confirmed that Spider-Man 4 isn't the end. It's the start of a new trilogy, with Holland and Marvel already planning 3 more movies. Plus, there will be another big MCU crossover beyond No Way Home's Doctor Strange cameo. Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton will helm Spider-Man 4, with returning writers Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. Given their strong track record, this promises a solid blend of action and character depth. Plot details are scarce, but Pascal hinted the story will focus more on Spider-Man as a hero rather than Peter Parker's personal life, exploring how Peter chose to focus on being Spider-Man because being Peter Parker was too hard. Rumors range from a multiverse-heavy adventure to a street-level story. Since Spider-Man 4 is set between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, the Black Symbiote suit storyline might return, introducing the classic Spider-Man black suit. With Null appearing in Venom: The Last Dance and Kingpin's rise in Daredevil: Born Again, villains from both corners could cross paths with Spidey. A potential team-up with Daredevil might finally happen, focusing on street-level crime and New York's fight against crime bosses. All signs point to Marvel giving Spider-Man a fresh yet familiar arc, letting Peter stand independently as a hero. Fans can expect a mix of epic action, emotional growth, and possibly some surprises from the multiverse. Clayface, September 11th, 2026. DC Studios is diving into something fresh with an officially greenlit Clayface movie, and it's already sounding pretty exciting. They brought in horror maestro Mike Flanagan to write the script, which means we're likely in for a darker, creepier take. Think The Fly-style body horror rather than your typical superhero flick. The studio is on the hunt for a director, ideally someone with a solid background in horror, to bring that unsettling vibe to life. Clayface isn't as well known as Joker, but DC is clearly aiming to shine a spotlight on Batman's rogues gallery after the success of the Penguin series. This movie will tie into the main DC universe, specifically connecting with the brave and the bold, which adds an extra layer of intrigue for fans. Casting details are still under wraps, but some fans hope Alan Tudyk, who voices Clayface in Creature Commandos, might step into the live-action role. That would be a cool nod to his voice work. With DC experimenting by blending genres like horror and superhero, Clayface could be a real game-changer. If Flanagan's vision hits the mark, it might stand out as one of the most unique and boundary-pushing films in the DCU, possibly shaking up the superhero genre altogether. The Angry Birds 3, January 29, 2027. Red, Chuck, Silver, and Bomb are flying back onto the big screen. The movie is being produced by Rovio and Sega in collaboration with Namit Malhotra's Prime Focus Studios, Flywheel Media, One Cool Group, and Dentsu. Returning to direct is John Rice, known for his work on the first Angry Birds movie and Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. The screenplay is by Thorup Van Orman, who also joins as an executive producer alongside Toru Nakahara. The producing team includes John Cohen, Dan Chuba, and Carla Connor. Plus, Heitor Pereira, who scored both previous Angry Birds films, is back on board for the music. Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Rachel Bloom, and Danny McBride return as the beloved voices of Red, Chuck, Silver, and Bomb. New voices joining the chaos include Emma Myers, Keke Palmer, Tim Robinson, Lily James, Marcelo Hernandez, Walker Scobell, Sam Richardson, Anna Cathcart, Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, Nikki Glazer, James Austin Johnson, and Psalm West. DNEG Animation is handling the storyboards, art, and animation, so we're expecting some seriously vibrant visuals. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, September 17th, 2027. The next movie is keeping the fresh vibe from the first one and continuing the adventures of Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael. Micah Abbey, Shimon Brown Jr., Nicholas Cantu, and Brady Noon are all back to voice the Turtles. Jackie Chan is expected to return as Splinter, their wise rat dad, and Seth Rogen, who helped write and produce the first film, is involved again, saying this sequel is going to be awesome. They're already deep into production, with the animatic done and CG animation underway. The story will probably pick up right where Mutant Mayhem left off, with Cynthia and Shredder playing big roles, though we don't know yet who's voicing Shredder. Frozen 3, November 24th, 2027. The buzz around Frozen 3 is definitely growing, and it looks like the franchise isn't done yet. While Bob Iger hasn't outright confirmed a fourth movie, he did hint at the possibility of Frozen 4 back in late 2023, so fans can hold on to hope that the story will continue beyond the next film. Details on what Frozen 3 will actually be about are still under wraps, but producer Peter Del Vecchio shared some optimism in an interview. He emphasized that Disney only moves forward with sequels when they believe the story truly deserves it. Del Vecchio mentioned that development is underway, but nothing official has been announced yet, so all speculation is just that, for now. His confidence in the upcoming trilogy gives fans a lot to look forward to. With Frozen 3 scheduled to arrive in about 2 years, the anticipation is definitely building. Meanwhile, Disney's focus on continuing beloved franchises like Frozen, alongside other animated sequels, shows their strategy of balancing fan favorites with new original content. Avengers Secret Wars, December 17, 2027. Avengers Secret Wars is shaping up to be a huge deal for the MCU. It's the big finale to the Multiverse Saga and Phase 6. The Russo brothers are back to direct, the same duo behind Infinity War and Endgame, so you know it's going to be epic and set the stage for what's next. Robert Downey Jr. is making a surprise return as Doctor Doom, who's going to be a major villain this time. The Fantastic Four are finally joining the MCU with Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Susan Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm. Plus, the Thunderbolts are coming too, with Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, and Wyatt Russell on board. There's talk of other characters from the 2015 Secret Wars comics like Thor, Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Wolverine, and She-Hulk showing up, but nothing official yet. The story looks like it's borrowing a lot from the 2015 Secret Wars event, where the multiverse starts collapsing because of these universe crashes called incursions. The Beyonders are behind the chaos, using Molecule Man to destroy worlds. Then, Doctor Doom pieces together a patchwork world called Battle World and makes himself the big boss, forcing heroes into new roles. The MCU has already hinted at this kind of stuff in movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home, plus Deadpool and Wolverine showed how fragile the timelines really are. Well, that's it for today. Which one are you most pumped to see and why? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.